Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are joining us here for this interview here at the Santa Fe Springs Art Festival in Heritage Park, please take a seat because right here with us today we have the great Rafael Navarro. Joining us later, hopefully, Javier Hernandez as well, coming in a later time. But Rafael with an F, not a P, as you mentioned before,
yes,
right?
Sir. I am learning Italian, but that's another story.
That's for another time. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for being here at the Santa Fe Springs Art Festival.
The honor's mine, sir.
Honestly, thank you so much because we saw you a couple years ago over at the Whittier Comic Fest. You were showcasing your new piece, a luchador-inspired story.
Oh, yes.
Noir.
Yes.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Sonámbulo, yes. Well, Sonámbulo, he's a former Mexican wrestler who now resides as a private eye, but between us chickens, he's more of a paranormal investigator, and he's kind of a monster hunter, to say the least. So, yeah, he's lots of fun, loads of hilarity, but most of all, he has the ability to read people's dreams.
Okay.
So there's a very surrealistic quality. I mean, it's not just a nice, fun, silly action-adventure sort of character, but there's also a weird kind of almost Luis Buñuel, Federico Fellini kind of vibe with the dream sequences. It's like picture David Lynch directing Santo movies in the 60s.
Oh, that's a trip. That's one way of putting it. Yeah. So from the pieces that you showcase over at Whittier Comic Fest and here
Yes.
at the Santa Fe Springs Art Festival, what I'm seeing a lot of, because you're the one that does all the painting, all the art for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I'm a huge fan of wrestling. Huge fan of wrestling. Love lucha libre as well.
Me too.
So what I love so much about it is that you're bringing a lot of history into this. You're bringing a lot of historical influence because what maybe some people don't know, but lucha libre was kind of like the early days of a telenovela. There was a lot of mystery. There was a lot of drama. Mm-hmm. It was very like detective inspired, and the purpose of the mask was to hide the identity. It was kind of like a Mexican superhero in a way, right?
To say the least, my friend.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what you're showcasing here. Mm-hmm. So how many issues so far do you have of your book?
Oh gosh, at the top of my head, I really don't know, but I'm gonna presume I've done at least 12 adventures, but in like 2-3 different parts. So times that, I suppose that's the final thing. I've never actually sat down to figure out what the number is. Because with every storyline, I just start with a number one of two, number 2 of 3, number 3 of 3, that sort of thing. But I've never actually really, if I was smart, I'd be like, so novel number 1 to Sonámbulo number 127,000, but I'm not that smart, apparently.
And how long are usually the adventures that you have him go on?
Well, each book lasts about maybe 32 pages at the max.
32 pages, okay.
24 to 32 pages per book, but when I'm actually doing like a 3-part story, that, like I said, that's like 32 times 3.
Yeah.
So, so I'm in the process of now trying to collect those stories, in a nice big fat beautiful hardcover or trade paperback collection. Because the thing about floppies is that they have only a certain amount of lifespan, but if you put it in a nice fancy schmancy, collector's library edition, with soft cover with a little introduction by my dear friend Javier Hernandez or some noted, historian like Keith Rainville, which I did with my most recent Sonámbulo collection. It gives a nice pristine quality to the thing, and it also breathes new life to old material.
It does. I mean, for people because that's the thing about comic books is that like once you get late into the arc, you'd have to go back and find the different issues and stuff, and it does help if you have those trades. I don't know if that's what you would call them, but it's like a collections, right?
It keeps things in circulation, so when you have your brand spanking new Sonámbulo book, which I'm already working on at the moment, it's nice to have a little bit of history to go with the new product that you're about to unleash to the world.
That's good. That's good. Can you care to tell us a little bit about his adventures? How did he start his origin story, for example, for those that maybe want to pick up on this book?
But that would be telling.
Tell us a little bit about it. How about the summary that people would find at the back of the book?
Well, like I said, he was a luchador in the 1950s, and he just magically or unfortunately in his own sort of demise, he discovered he had some weird sleep disorder. He would sleep for hours on end, sometimes days upon end. He'd wake up and he was kind of missed because he's kind of a celebrity wrestler. Then one day he found out that he had a strange ability to read people's dreams. About that same time too, the mob was about to kill him because he refused to throw fights for the mob there. And so they when they thought they killed him off, he actually went to some strange suspended animation. And when he woke again like 40, 50, 60 years ago. He woke up to modern times. So he sort of died in 1959. He woke up again in the according to the book Mythos, he woke up around 1995, 1994 when I started the book, in the pre thing. And so all that time he's been sort of like a man out of time, so to speak. But because he has the ability to read people's dreams, he kind of knows more about what's going on with you. Even though he may not know how to work a cell phone, so to speak, he already knows how you are working because he's already figured it out. So he has this catchphrase where he says, "Tell me your dreams," but it's also his way of like extracting clues from you because if you are some horrid mass murderer, that you're trying to hide your secret. He already knows who you are, dude. He's got your number. He's going to take you out when he can. But because he could also read your minds, he also realizes that, there's a reasoning why you are who you are. So he's pretty much, he deals with that monster of the week sort of thing, but at the same time, he's kind of like an unofficial therapist. Like, what's wrong? Tell me. What even though he already knows what's going on, but if he gains enough, if you gain enough trust from him, that you are willing to share what is hurting you. There's more going on to the story than just another big dumb monster, thing. So,
but that's the beauty of the creation that you made here,
yeah,
because like
so.
it goes back. It is because like let's look at the basic comic book, right? You have your overarching story that might expand 3, 4, 5, even 10 issues at most, right? And we know that the superhero is supposed to save the day, and they've got their powers, and the villain's wanting to stop them. But what you just explained here, at least in my head, the process, right, is a telenovela, which I grew up watching telenovelas with my mom.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and the beauty about them is that these telenovelas would go on for years. It wasn't split by seasons. It wasn't split by anything. It was always an overarching story. But there's always some problem in every episode that sometimes extended to the next one.
Yes, a soap opera is definitely a formula. And the funny you mentioned, every time people ask me to describe lucha libre or just wrestling in general, but lucha libre in the Mexican sort of tradition, it's theater of the absurd. It's like a soap opera for men. There you go. I could relate to it because I grew up with in my Mexican culture. I mean, that was it. I mean, I learned my right and wrong from just watching Santo and Blue Demon, take on evil mad scientists from Germany that sort of got out of Argentina just in time, before the war was gonna stop them. But yeah, John Carradine.
So let's take it back for just a second here. Wrestling is a soap opera for men.
Oh, there you go, man.
Best explanation I've ever heard.
Run with it, my friend. Run with it.
That was it. Javier Hernandez is joining us here.
Yes,
How have you been, man?
Joining. I was sitting on my seat listening to the show, and he's like, "Hey, you're up. I'm sorry."
Oh, my bad. I totally forgot. But you are alongside here with Rafael Navarro, showcasing some of your work as well.
Yes, I'm a local artist from Whittier also, and I do a comic book called El Muerto.
El Muerto,
The Aztec Zombie. It's about a young man. He's born on Day of the Dead. On his 21st birthday, he gets killed in a car accident, and he gets resurrected by the Aztec god of death.
So, it's a lot to wrap up. It is a lot to wrap up, but what I'm loving about this is that we're getting a lot of Hispanic, Latino culture influences into your story, right? It's great, awesome, because you love to see it, right? What you just explained, and it's so funny, is The Crow, but with Latino culture in there, Hispanic culture, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the book first came out in '98. So back in the '98, there was very little in comics in the way of there was some Latino characters, but like Aztec mythology and Day of the Dead folklore, that was kind of unexplored and untapped. So when I did that was kind of like the first time you saw that in comics. Luckily, because of the Hernandez brothers, no relation, there was already a good history of Latino characters with Love and Rockets, and then sporadic characters throughout Marvel and DC's history. But me and Rafael came into the comic biz at the time when there was kind of the resurgence of self-published independent creators. There was Richard Dominguez out of Texas with a comic called El Gato Negro, which is currently being filmed as a TV streaming series by MGM.
Yeah, I think it's going to air on Apple.
Apple MGM, yeah.
El Gato Negro?
Yeah. El Gato Negro,
I think I might have heard of it, yeah.
I think they refer to it now as El Gato, but
yeah.
So Richard was around. There was another guy, Carlos Saldana. He was doing a comic called Burrito. He's still doing it.
Yep.
There was a female artist, Laura Molina. She had done a comic called Jaguar. So they were already doing their stuff when me and Ralph came into the biz. So we got inspired by them, the Hernandez brothers and other creators. And I know me, I'm just like I'm sure him, like you mentioned, Latino characters. I wanted to make up my own character. I wanted to own it. You know, I didn't want to be the 897th person working on Iron Man. I wanted to own El Muerto, so I had to self-publish it and keep the creative control and the ownership for myself. And that's basically how I got started and why I wanted to make my own comics.
Awesome. We do have to wrap up the interview pretty soon, but I do want to ask you guys, I know we asked you this when we interviewed you last time at Whittier Comic Fest, but for the people that haven't been able to see that video or even have seen you live on stage before, for those that want to get into the industry, and this question applies to both of you guys, to start creating, to start drawing, to start writing, how do people go about that? And I know the answer is always going to be like, well, just pick up a pen and paper and start writing it. How did you guys get into it?
Shall you do it or shall I do it?
Well, you already did it, but you do it. Okay. No, really.
Well, actually, we kind of paraphrase it so slightly. We got the words of wisdom of a Carlos Saldana that Javier just mentioned. He creator of El Burrito. We went to him one day in the early days of 1994, 1995 or so. We went all the way to San Jose to the Alternative Press Expo. We fell in love with his comic book. We had ideas of our own. We had some things we kind of started, but we weren't too serious. We weren't too sure. We were a little insecure if we were going to be going with it, or if we were going to be going with it at all. We needed some sort of sage advice. I don't know. We wanted something. We needed our handheld. We needed a cheerleader. I don't know what we needed, but we needed some.
The burning bush.
The burning bush question. We had to go, reach out and find, the burning bush to get the answers that we needed to see if we wanted to go forward with this strange venture known as self-publishing. So he and I got into my car. The next morning, we drove all the way to San Jose. We got there. We paid our ticket to get to the Alternative Press Expo. We met the sage himself, Mr. Carlos Saldana, creator of El Burrito. And we asked him the very same thing. Godfather, what can we do to get our own thing going? What is it that we're missing? We got this idea, we want to do it, and we're hesitant. We don't know, we're afraid. He told us just 3 words: just do it. That's it. Just do it. The only person that's stopping you from ever doing whatever you wish to do in life is yourself. Self-doubt is the demon we all fight on a regular basis, and we have to always succumb to the most simplest of things and the simplest of temptations, even the most simplest excuses for self-doubt. You let that thing take over, you forget, you're not getting anything done. Your ambitions are gone, and there goes your day. There goes your year. There goes the rest of your youth not fulfilling the things you really want to do. The only thing that's going to stop you, yet again, like I said, folks, is yourself. So the magic words, folks, is just do it.
And we joke about it. Me and him, we always tell that story to ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's the perfect advice, because now when I talk to people, when I used to talk to people in the old days when I started out, I'd give them a big, long explanation. Well, you got to draw it this way and got to get your tools. But over the years, I realized Carlos was right. I mean, not to be rude, but why am I going to spend 10 minutes talking to you about everything you should do, and then you turn around and you don't do it? So just do it. Either do it or don't do it. But if you really want to do it, you will do it. You will prioritize your life to put comics near the top. I mean, keep your family, your health, your day job, your school, whatever. But comics has to be up above video games. Sorry, guys. It's gotta be above streaming. Amazon videos all weekend. We all like to do that.
I mean, that also
it's got to be way at the very top of your free time.
I mean, that also applies to all ambitions. I mean, if you wish to be a doctor, if you wish to be a lawyer, if you wish to go find the cure for cancer, just do it. I mean, just find the effort, find la ganas, as my dad would say once long ago, and find it within yourself to just see the job through. It's not going to be easy, of course, and I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations and even more temptations and also distractions, but in the end, like I said, it's always going to be up to you to get it done.
So just so you guys know, if you guys are wondering why the superheroes of our time always have the greatest sayings ever, an example right over here. 2 people that just gave some of the best and most perfect advice possible to just get started on a passion project or just do something that you guys want. Straight out of a comic book. That's what you guys just basically said. So honestly, I couldn't have put it better myself, and I'm taking all your advice now, because that's special advice. Before we wrap up this interview, is there anything else that you guys want to plug in for our audiences to know about, and where they can find you, where they can find your guys' books as well, and what to look forward to?
All right. Well,
Next week, we're both going to be at free comic book day events I'll be up in San Gabriel at Nostalgic Comics on Saturday.
Oh, and I will be at the local Fullerton comic shop, the Comic Book Hideout. I don't know what the times are, but I'm going to presume it to be like from noon up, so.
Okay. Perfect. And then social media, we'll go ahead and post everything as well. You guys are working on books as well soon, or you guys are just kind of like focusing more on the product you guys have now?
No, I'm working on a new book, and I'm sitting over there if anybody wants to come out and check us out.
Yeah.
Yes, for the
Likewise.
audiences listening here at Santa Fe Springs Art Festival, go check them out. Far corner over there, not that far, just a quick walk over there with Rafael Navarro and Javier Hernandez. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Eat your vegetables and hydrate, babies.
There we go. Perfect advice. With that said, thank you guys so much for being here, both Rafael Navarro, Javier Hernandez. Thank you guys for being at the festival. Thank you guys for the time in the interview. For everyone else, keep enjoying the Santa Fe Springs Art Festival. There are more interviews to come. We've got 2 more to close out the night. Also, drone show in about 20 minutes. So if you guys are into that, that's going to be over at the main stage. But thank you guys for joining us here at Santa Fe Springs Art Festival. My name is Bryan from Keep It Up with Nerds, here with Rafael Navarro and Javier Hernandez. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.